Hi guys, good morning. This is Sana with Abundance Rising Family, and it is 24 degrees outside today. The girls have been ready to be milked for the last hour, but I needed a hot cup of coffee first. The cold is not my friend. Don't I look great in a beanie? I don't care how bad it looks. It's cold out here. Come along with me and see how this goes on one of the coldest days of the year. So in preparation for this storm that we knew that was coming in, I got on Amazon and I ordered electric overalls. I got these lovely battery powered heated overalls to keep my legs and my torso warm. The only thing that I can feel cold anywhere is my hands, the back of my neck, and my face. And I'm so excited about it. I am the biggest weenie in the cold. One of the boys' most favorite things to do on a frozen cold morning is to come out and break up the ice in all of their watering beds. They sure do get a kick out of using a baseball bat and a bucket of water. Thanks for going on that journey with me, getting Mac milked out this morning. She gave me just a little over 3 gallons of milk today. That was this morning's contribution. We will get more this evening. I am in Texas. We are not accustomed to this kind of weather. I will tell you, my nose is cold, my toes are cold, my fingertips are cold, and no matter what, the cows have to get milked. Bringing along my trusty wagon. So Mac was raised here, and I trained her to milk, and she has always been hand milked her entire life. That's all she's ever known, so that's what I continue to do. But the other cows have all been machine milked, or were trained to be machine milked. So after hand milking Mac, we switch over to using the machine. Just in the last 3 weeks or so, I switched how I used this milk machine, and it has been so much more effective. So I'm going to show you some of the changes that I've made. Now it's Heidi's turn to be milked. When Heidi first got here, she was emaciated, she was severely undernourished, and she was afraid of her own shadow. One of the most fearful cows I've ever met. She is also, in turn, the largest cow I have ever handled. So she's super tall, really big girl, and afraid of everything. It took us months of working with her to get her to calm down and realize that we were not trying to eat her. It still took us months to get her to even willingly come to the stanchion. Through all of this, we still had to milk her twice a day, every day, no matter what. But boy, was it a battle, but our hard work paid off. Now she's over here working really hard to pop that gate open and get into the stanchion because she is ready to be milked. I'm just so proud of her and how far she has come. This is a belt that we put over the cow's back. This hangs under the cow, and the milk machine dangles on it underneath the cow. Now, everybody that I knew that uses the same type of milk machine that I have quit using this a long time ago. And they ended up purchasing longer tubes so the machine can sit on the floor next to you and you can just run it and connect it to the cow and milk her without this contraption. I'll explain to you why that didn't work so well for us. This board here is not to keep the cow in the stanchion. The only purpose of this board that I move the cow, push up against the cow, is to prevent her from stepping away from me and making it too hard for me to reach. Bag health is very, very important when you're drinking raw milk. What we discovered was having the hoses running up to the cow allowed the hose too much free range to do what it wanted, and the inflation that was on the cow would climb too high on her bag, and it was causing damage to the membranes inside of her actual bag. Cats are still waiting for their portion. Remember, those first few squirts go to the cats just in case there's any bacteria on the ends of the teeth. We don't really want to drink that. This just helps flush out any potential problems that could be waiting for us. And I usually give a little extra because it's cold and the cats enjoy it. All right, let's see if we can bring you in closer here. The belt's just a little in the way. Let's see what we can do about that. Take the bucket milker. I'm gonna hook it up to the vacuum pump. This fancy hose goes on the back of the milk bucket. And then I'm gonna turn it on. When you hear that clicking, you know that there's enough vacuum pull that it can go on the cow. See her belt hanging right there. I'm going to do my best not to get in the way so you can see how this works. So you hang the handle on this metal. I actually think I have the belt a little too short. Still learning. You push down on the inflation so you're crimping it. And take out the plug. And you don't uncrimp it until it's at her teat. And it's a struggle right now because I actually have the belt just a little too short. I'm gonna lower it. I never said this process was easy, which is probably why people started using the long hoses. But once you get the hang of it, which clearly I have not, it really is better for the cow. So I pushed down on it to crimp it, took out the plug, got a basket over here I put the plug in, you put it up to the teat and uncrimp it, and it attaches right onto the cow. I'm going to do that 2 more times. Now this bucket can be moved forward. The only reason I don't move it forward in the very beginning is because then the inflations kind of rock forward and I do not want them coming into contact with the ground. So once it's attached and better balanced, I can move it forward on the handle. And there we have it. Now it's on her. It can move as she moves. If she walks forward, backwards, none of that is going to affect her ability to be milked. But the weight of the bucket, is drawing down on the inflations, and it's preventing the inflations from crawling higher up on her bag as her bags empty out. So it's actually more of a pulling motion rather than just sitting on her bag and a suction from the vacuum pump. It's also helping to draw and pull the way a calf would. Her bag health has improved so much since I started using this machine the way it was designed to be used. My biggest complaint, I don't have the silicone lines now to see when the milk stops flowing. So I'm having to learn when is the appropriate time to take the machine off the cow, because you don't want to leave it on when she's dry. When we first brought Heidi home, she was incredibly skinny. She had mastitis in one of her quarters, and she was so fearful. She's come so far since we bought her. She's healthy. All of her testing and her medical testing comes back healthy and good. She's strong, and boy, does she enjoy milking time now. No more scared cows here. I just couldn't be more thrilled with how far she's come. So now I start to massage her bag. And if I feel like it's not emptying as quickly as normal, I'll just pull down just a little bit on the inflation and kind of help it out. I'm actually going to lower the belt one more notch to give it a little bit more of a draw. When you pull down on the inflations, it just increases the suction by just a little bit. You don't want to pull hard, but it is important that you get all of the milk out of the bag. All right, so when I feel her bag, everything is as soft as it should be. She feels empty. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the machine off. I grab the handle. And then I actually release the suction by pulling one of the inflations out of the bucket. So now that all of the suction is released, I can pull it off of her without causing any damage. I keep the inflations off the ground. I put plugs back in. And then I actually turn the vacuum pump back on to re-engage suction so that this lid, because the only way the lid stays on is when it's vacuum sealed. So as I carry this on the wagon back to the house, milk pours out of the lid unless I reseal it again. That's it. And now I can put it on the wagon and take it in the house, and this lid is not coming off and no milk is going to escape the bucket. Earlier I was in an ugly black hat. Now I'm in an ugly blue hat. And it's equally as warm, so I don't care how bad it looks. But my son was leaving to go to work, and as he drove by, he stopped to talk to me. And I asked him if he remembered a beanie, and he had not, but he was in a hurry to get to work. So I ended up giving him the one on my head and then going in the house to get myself a different one. If that's not love, I don't know what is. I almost froze to death on the way back to the house. So let's just take a look for a moment at her shoulders. Look at how high her shoulders come up to the top of that board. I want you to keep that in your mind as a reference point because I'm about to bring Annabelle in the stanchion. Now look at the difference. How far her shoulders reach from that board. Annabelle is my smallest cow by far. Because Annabelle is as small as she is, the belt goes on the smallest notch. She's just so tiny. Milking Annabelle is very similar to milking Heidi. I'm going to go ahead and skip this part and move on so we can go check on the calves. Stick around, you're not going to want to miss it. All right, her bag is feeling really soft and empty, so it's time to take this off.
All I have to do is set hers on the floor to release suction. She's so low to the ground. I don't know if you guys saw, but she actually threw one of the inflation plugs on the ground over there. Annabelle is known for what we call dancing in the stanchion. Her happy feet are constantly moving. So now that that plug has been on the ground, I will not be putting it inside the inflation because I don't want to risk any kind of bacteria getting into my machine. We do clean the machine after every milking, but let's not take that chance. So now I've got to be extra careful moving the milk into the house.
This is reality. So all of those videos you guys see on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, whatever, of these lovely young ladies out in their white flowing dresses who are cleaning out their chicken coop without a dust mask on or anything, and then they put down new bedding and they're laying down in the bedding with their chickens just all around. Guys, that ain't real. Real is looking like a hot mess, wearing ugly beanies and crappy clothes. It's dealing with poop, it's spilling milk all over the place, it's feed blowing in your face because it's cold and windy outside. This is real. We spill, we have messes, we drop things. Livestock is gross and it's so amazing at the same time. This is Cinnamon. Cinnamon was the first calf born on our property this season. Now, I was allowing Cinnamon's mother to raise her the way I have all of our other cows. Except Cinnamon was getting way too aggressive with her mother, and she actually started shredding her teats. So we pulled her from her mama, and we now bottle feed Cinnamon. Her mom is just too valuable to let the calf tear her up. So the calf still gets what she needs. I have no problem bottle feeding her. This is milk that came from her mom. And boy, does she appreciate mealtime. This is Cinnamon. This is Sugar. Cinnamon and Sugar go well together. I love how Sugar looks like she has eyeliner on. She's such a pretty girl. Cinnamon was born here in October. Sugar was born in December. And then Annabelle's calf, Monty, our little bull calf, was born early January. You always think you need more. That's enough. You're a milk glutton. Stay warm out here, Cinnamon. Over here in this pasture, we have little baby Monty. He was named after the Monterey steak seasoning. Little Monty is being watched over by his Aunt Heidi. Zinni is off in the back chowing on hay. The more they eat, the warmer they are. So this time of year, the cows eat a lot. This is one of the rare times that I'll be out doing chores and even possibly recording a video that you're not going to see a bunch of little kids running around. Why is that, you ask? They are smarter than me. They're smarter than me. It is too cold for any human being to be outside right now. This should be illegal. So
All of you folks in like Colorado and Montana, stop laughing at me. I'm a Texan, and it should never be this cold. But here's the real question everybody's asking. What about Bob? Who's Bob? I'll show you Bob. This little lamb was born to a good friend of ours, and his mother abandoned him. Now, my friend had just had surgery and was unable to take care of him. So we took him on because we had plenty of milk. I guess you can't fathom what he's looking for. So Bob is a lamb. His name is not actually Bob. His name is Baab. Baab loves his bottles. He's very friendly. We've had him since he was just a day old. We brought him home in my daughter's lap. We have to feed Bob about 6 times a day. But he's just getting to an age where we can start cutting that back a little bit. He's on lamb food, so he does get a little bit of grain, but he would much rather have his bottle. And every time you feed him, that little tail goes nuts. Justin calls Bob his business partner. Anytime Justin is out doing any work on the property, he opens the gate and Bob follows him everywhere. Bob. Why do we have a lamb? I don't know. There was a baby who needed to be taken care of, and I simply don't know how to say no. He has been a fun adventure. We have thoroughly enjoyed him. I have no plans to get into raising sheep, but this one, he's all right. All right, Bob. Don't be a milk glutton. Be better than Cinnamon. Guys, thanks for spending the morning with me. This very, very cold Texas morning. This evening we're expecting snow. So maybe I'll have to bring you along on that adventure too. Have a great day. Thanks for watching.